morning. How are you? Rev Walter here, and it is yet another Monday. And we're here looking at the topic that you see on the screen. I will be removing that briefly, and we'll bring it back on later. But right now, I just want to thank you all for being part of what we're doing. And one of the things that excites me is that every weekday we come here on this platform. We're committed to the process of sharing who we are and what we are. And so Mondays, I am here doing Unleashing Your Destiny. And then on Tuesdays, we have Sunshine, Sylvia Coach Sunshine, who does her slot, which is the one that which is the Mindset Change Program. And then on Wednesday, we have Open Market, where anybody really can be part of what we do. You just need to come on board, and for a small fee, you can be part of what we do. And then on Thursday, we have Dr. Nelly, and she comes with her prosperity insights and prosperity for your soul. And then on Friday, we have Dr. Jackie with health tips. So today, being a Monday, I am here to share with you concerning advancement skills to master today, managing your followers and network. And this particular topic is very, very interesting, because for a lot of people, you don't realize that the capacity to what's that word now? To charge what you want to charge lies in the value you put out there. But anyway, let's dig in. And remember, you can post your questions or comments. And by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, I almost forgot. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you do the needful. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do subscribe. Just tap your screen on the bottom right-hand corner. You'll see the subscription button. You can click on that, and we should be good to go. We should be able to see you subscribe. And remember to also click the notifications button so that you can get the best of the best. In other words, if you want to receive all notifications, or you want to receive some notifications or highlights, then you can click that button. So having said that, also for those of you watching us, you can feel free to comment at the bottom. We always appreciate your comments. We read every single one of them. We do respond where we can on a regular basis, so make sure you do so. And so having said all that, here we are. Today we're looking at the topic, advancement skills to master today, managing your followers and network. And that's a very, very important item to highlight, because I know for a fact that a lot of people have not realized just how important this can be. And so if you can get this right, you will see a huge difference when it comes to your progress and your success. So if ever there was one life-impacting philosophical equation that is permanently etched in the back of my mind, it is the one I'm about to mention. Value equals income. Just that. Value equals income. See, one has to understand that our ability to earn is directly proportional to the amount of value we can give out to whoever needs it. Okay? And what is even more critical to understand is that value is perceived. It is perceived. So what does that mean? A gold nugget means nothing to a villager whose means of survival and success is good crops and well-tended animals. In fact, for them, good rains would be far more valuable as far as they're concerned than the so-called gold nugget. Now, to carry this point further, a man dying of thirst in the desert would give up every gold nugget in his possession for a jug of water. Are you seeing where I'm going with that? Absolutely. So, if value is perceived, it then stands to reason that for one to get ahead, they must demonstrate value and actually show the potential recipients that this value can actually solve their problems. And once that perception is created, then they will be willing to pay for what you offer. So the ability for people to pay what you're worth is directly proportional to how much they perceive your worthiness. Yup. What is even more profound is this one. The larger the number who can access your solution, the more money you will make. And this is the reason why companies like Amazon, Microsoft, Apple, Huawei, Google, and Facebook have become Fortune 500 companies in a relatively short period of time. And this is because they offer services that solve real-time challenges and can be accessed by billions of people on the planet. So this thing about A, being perceived as an authority, and then B, having many people in your space know what you offer. In other words, whatever you offer can reach millions. That has a direct impact on how much you're going to make. And so in a very, very serious way, the idea of building influence and reach in this day and age in your space is absolutely imperative. Okay, that's very important. And still, it is this reason why the very term "your network is your net worth" takes on great meaning. Your network is your net worth. Okay, it is about how large your network is in terms of how many end users are connected to yourself. In other words, to that network. And it isn't just that this network that matters, but the value you can consistently demonstrate to that network. Okay, there is a money law called the law of reciprocity, and I will talk about it in laws when I get around to the laws of money. I haven't done those for a long time, but when I do get around to it, this law of reciprocity is very powerful. But what does it say? Which it is according to social psychologists, they say that when someone does something nice for you, you will have a deep-rooted psychological urge to do something nice in return. As a matter of fact, you may even reciprocate with a gesture far more generous than the original good deed. It truly sums up the sowing and reaping concept that the Bible speaks about. Now, this is such an interesting law, because you see, in order for people, see, I mean, it's almost like a catch-22, like it's like a chicken and egg type of scenario. Okay, so there you are, you have value, you believe you carry value, you believe you carry something that the market should see. But the challenge is that, who are you? Nobody knows who you are. So the only way that it can work is you've got to go out there to the market and then show the market what you carry. And usually the way that happens is literally by you demonstrating. So this is where the concept of the free to fee comes in. Okay, so what does that mean? What does free to fee mean? It means the ability to take what you have, demonstrate it at no fee to the target audience. You know, Jesus spoke about do not cast pearls to swine. So be very, very careful with who you share these concepts and ideas to, because if you just share to anyone, you will get frustrated because the people you share to don't have the capacity to engage and utilize what you offer. So the secret lies in identifying what are your potential network, where people can appreciate the value you bring, and then find a way to demonstrate that value at no cost to those people. So in other words, do it for free. And I know that doesn't sound nice, but I tell you, now there are ways you can do it for free. You can do it almost for free. You can use what we call a market entrance strategy, where you slash your prices in order to get people to know that you have something you offer. And then once people bite into that and actually see that you have quality, they will come back and pay for more. That's how powerful this is. So you have to begin by just demonstrating for free as often as possible. Thank God for social media, because social media allows you to start doing that. But I'm not really talking about social media right now. I want to build on a number of things there. So take note also, every one of us has people, associates, friends, and persons who care about us in one way or another. This group can be classed as a tribe of followers. Okay, and now depending on our relevance, this group can be powerfully leveraged in ways most people don't even realize. Now, some years back, a friend of mine, Dr. Anthony Mwami, and I spoke about the 7 capitals one needs to start a business, and I've been running with that quite a bit. And one of them that was mentioned is network capital, or what we call relationship capital. Now, to build this network requires time, effort, and value. So when I say networking capital, I literally mean relationship capital. And that is a very powerful capital you can ever utilize. There are 7 capitals. In case you never heard me mention them, for your sake, I'm going to mention them. So the first one is talent capital. The second is information capital. The third is blessing capital. The fourth is vibrational or thought capital. The fifth is relationship capital, which we're tackling now under the networks. The sixth is trust capital, and then the seventh is social capital. So these are the seven capitals, and in that we're dealing with networking. So you will realize that if you build a good way and demonstrate value to that network, it really grows. So where am I going? When it comes to your network, the greatest and most powerful way to not only grow the network, but even get back great returns is to consistently demonstrate value to that network. You need to remain consistent in the deliberate collection and delivery of value. All right. This then becomes a powerful tool to leverage, and this can be done in a number of very profound ways. So let's go into one of those ways in which you can foster and build and demonstrate value consistently to these networks that you have. So let's go in there. So you can do this by fostering connections where leads or opportunities are shown, whereby if one requires to connect with another in your network, you facilitate this through introductions. So don't ask for any return as you immediately get your reward and can no longer exploit that gesture. So instead, leave it as a debt that you can call on in future when things become absolutely necessary. So foster connections. So you imagine I'm friends with Aunt Sylvia. Well, I am already friends with her. And she says, hey, Rev, listen, I'm looking for someone who can do 1, 2, 3, 4 for me. And I said, oh, don't worry. I know so-and-so. They are actually in that space. Let me connect them to you. And you facilitate your connection, which leads to big things. That is so powerful because later on, it's very easy for me to go back to Sunshine and say, hey, one turn deserves another. Listen, do you know, Sunshine, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that. And what will happen is you will find it's very, very easy for those people to do something good to you because you did bring something valuable to them in that moment. So this idea of doing favors and leaving that as a quote unquote debt for future reference is a very powerful way of doing things. And I've found that that works well. Another one also, you can also offer your knowledge through free advice and consultation. Now, before I even say more, think about that. See, if you are an active social media person, this can be powerfully exploited through your various platforms. And when value is demonstrated consistently or derived from your consistent tips and tricks, it won't take long before serious consultation with financial reward is extended your way. One of the reasons that we do what we do, besides the fact that it's CSR, we also showcase our knowledge. By sharing this information, this free platform on a regular basis, what are we doing? We are demonstrating value on a regular basis. And I can assure you that as we keep doing this, there are so many people who get to hear and see what we do, and they are able to appreciate it. It's amazing that Coach Sunshine is actually headed somewhere tomorrow, and she mentions that the reason actually she's going there. Well, you know what? Why am I even belaboring to say this? Sunshine, Coach Sunshine, I know it's not your day today. Are you willing to testify on your trip tomorrow and the factors behind it and how this has played a role besides what we do, but just this activity? Are you able to speak?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I'm one of the speakers at the Turkish African Business Forum, and I'm on the panel for Women in Leadership Forum, where actually the president is actually presiding over this, the president of Turkey, and this is actually being consistent on the things that you know best. I think this started when I was vice president for Zaki, where we are saying, how do you network and how do you consistently keep in touch of the things that you do and the people that are concerned with it. This has been 3 years since I left the board of Zaki, but at that time I was the first woman who was elected into the first woman elected into the position of vice president in Zaki since its inception. So I brought forward the thinking that once you have got something that you have done, it stays. and it also makes you be, even if you're out, you're still in, because you are a member of, I'm a member of Lusaka Chamber, so I contribute through Lusaka Chamber, and I'm consistent in the things that I do. I opened women in the chamber to just promote and see if we can have more women in the chamber. And for sure, so many women have come through, and I'm so proud that this is happening, because that's what we need for development. So when we are talking about how you can utilize your networks, this is some of the things that we say: be consistent, be on the calls. You don't know who you're connecting with. Like Rev was saying, we connect with each other. So just in the morning, just before the 7:30, when we are in the studio, we are talking about how can we improve something? Who is it that we need to be connecting with? I was the first person to actually get the visa, the Turkish visa in Zambia when it just opened. We were going for a show in Turkey. So all those things coupled with the things that you do, people remember. So when I socialize that, and you see, I sit on the pro bono for Kayula Childhood Cancer Foundation. The Turkish ambassador came to support us at the Kayula Cancer Foundation. So she again saw the things that we've been able to do, and if we can even do better.
Oops. What happened, Auntie Sylvia? Do you have your mic still on, or did you pull your cable out?
Next to other people. So these are the platforms where we actually with us in all manners that we want to achieve, ourselves. So this is what we do on a daily basis, and this is what we have to indicate that things work in the background and also in the. Until who's trying to come. Okay, so this is the issue, and I really pray that we continue with the way we do things and the way we achieve, and continue connecting, so that as we connect with each one of us, we are able to showcase and we're able to continuously improve on the things that we do. And this is basically, when you network, this is basically a mindset change thing that we do. So over to you, Rev. I'm glad that I had to connect and see how I can just be able to share. Thank you.
Nice one. Thank you so much, Sunshine. Very, very valuable information. And you see what I'm saying, listeners? We're saying that it won't take long before serious consultation with financial reward is extended your way. So even though you start what looks free, you are definitely building a network, and it won't take long. As long as people see the value, it will not take long before that translates into real money. Now, according to renowned futurist Thomas Frey, he says that it's rare that people become famous without effort, okay? It typically requires effort, usually sustained effort over long periods of time. Okay, managing a personal network of followers is all part of the work that prepares people to climb their own ladder of success, and our ability to master the tools for managing our own network of followers will largely determine where we end up in life. And you know, on this one, as I'm doing this, I'm thinking of one gentleman, Simon Mwewalane TV. His real name is Tambala Mwewa. He has been very consistent. You know, a lot of people don't realize that for him to build the vlogs that he has built, the SML TV, he is out there on that camera probably 2-3 hours a day. That's he does little opinions. He does his rants, as I would call them. He does the walkarounds, and he does topical issues. And in all these, he has to also edit some of that stuff. So think about how long it's taken. Then he's done the bits on English. He's a social commentator. But he's been so consistent that it has been able to garner him some very good funding, because sponsors jump on board because they see his numbers. And that's something he had to build over the years. And let me tell you, he didn't do it because he wanted money. He did it because he's got a passion for it. He loves what he does. And that's an example. Now, there are many examples in Zambia right now. There's a number of people. I think Muzukandi recently hit 1 million followers on social media. And I think she posts decent stuff. I don't follow, but I think she's not like out there posting stuff that's, you know, on the rather immoral side. She's very consistent with value, whatever value is to the people who follow. But my point is that you will see there's a whole bunch of people that have been very consistent, and this is translated to actually earning them quite a bit of money. So this is extremely important what I'm saying. Now, another set of powerful but often time overlooked tools are digital platforms like email and your smartphone. You have no idea the power you hold in those smartphones. Okay, I will cover these in my next transmission, but let's just say that the larger the platform you address, the greater the ability to exploit that list for financial rewards. It is for this reason that today the number one asset the greatest companies look for is data. Did you know, by the way, that data is the new gold? So the new gold today is data. You got oil, you got gold itself, and gold was the earliest. Then we had oil, and today it's data. So all these companies, for example, Facebook, Google, Twitter, in fact, all the social media platforms, do you know what they do? They just harvest data. They have AI there that just learns and watches how people behave, and then using that learns how to interact with them on those walls. We call it the wall. And based on that, that's how they're able to generate a lot of data. Did you know that, what's their names? Google collect between 300 to 500 megabytes of data daily from all of us? Just think about that. 300 to 500 megabytes of data every day. That's what data, that's the kind of data that Google collects. Now that makes what we call large data. And large data is very useful for AI. So AI needs large amounts of data. You will be amazed. Google has more information on this country than even CSO does. Yep. CSO does go around, do their censuses, but I can tell you Google, Facebook, especially these two, and Twitter and all these others have collected so much data. They know more about Zambians than you can imagine. In fact, this data was so powerful as a knowledge tool that at one point in time, there was a major scandal which came out. This was in 2015. A company called Cambridge Analytica utilized data which they would collect through social media platforms like the one you're watching, especially Facebook, but YouTube as well. And then based on that data, they could then formulate ads which would go back and influence subtly the users into changing their thinking. It's called social engineering. And this information that they were using was utilized for elections in Indonesia, I believe, Singapore, and in Kenya. And it was such a big deal. It became a big scandal. It became the largest scandal of the time on digital platforms. Cambridge Analytica went under a lot of fire. I think a lot of them found themselves in hot water with regulators and all kinds of things. Facebook had to change a lot of things in the process. But the truth of the matter is, for everyone exposed Cambridge Analytica, I bet you there's 30 others you don't know about. And they harvest this data and they are using it to socially engineer people. Do you see that's how powerful data is, ladies and gentlemen? And so even for you and me, as we interact on these platforms, our job is to make sure that we utilize and maximize these networks. If you're not doing that, you're losing out. Now, let me close with one component on relationships. I think this is gonna really be helpful. Did you realize that when it comes to relationships, yours and mine, our lives, do you realize that at no given time, or rather at no time have we been able to move from one platform to the next minus a relationship? Think about it. Every single one of times that you have been elevated from one particular stage in your life to another, there was a person involved. And that's why forming networks is so important. You know, the other day, a friend of mine, I won't mention names, was looking for an extra, and this really hit home for me. And as I say this, I don't mean to offend anybody, but just listen to me and then you decide. A friend of mine was traveling to the US, and so they had raised a certain amount of money, and then they had a shortfall. So they had raised about $1,800, and they had a shortfall $900 to make $2,700. So when they were short of that $900, they informed their brother in the US to say, hey, listen, I'm at the travel agent, I'm short $900 to make the fee. And so the brother to the person traveling said, listen, don't you have somebody you can borrow that $900 from, and then you pay, and then I'll refund you tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Just borrow that money so that you do it. And then this gentleman who is traveling says, ish, my brother, I can find a 900, but it'll take 3, 4, 5 days, 1 week for somebody to give you that kind of money because it's really tight. And this person in the US said, $900? I said, yep. And they said, $900? That person said, yes. Then the person says, you mean to tell me that you have nobody in your circle that you can pick up a phone and call and they can just give you that $900 and then you pay them back tomorrow or the day after? This gentleman said, unfortunately, it will take 3, 4, 5 days to get that kind of money. He says, you better change your circle. That is just terrible. I didn't realize that kind of the circles you have. Now, you know, for those of us who are NLP practitioners, we have learned a saying. It is not the events that happen to you that matter, but the meanings you assign. For the average person, they'll take great offense in that statement. What do they think? How can they tell me I should change my circle? But for that gentleman, and inadvertently when he shared with me, that's what I told him. I said, you know what? There are two things here. You can either get offended or you can take to note what they've said and do something about it. And to prove the point, that brother traveled and came to Zambia, you know, and was here for a particular family event. And so when they were done, as they were traveling back, there was a problem with their ticket. And so first of all, there was a problem and they missed the flight. They missed that flight, so they postponed to like 3 days later, and then they went back on that day. Now, when they got to the airport, they discovered that there were issues, and the airline refused to honor the ticket. So they said you just have to buy another one. Now, buying tickets at the airport is the most expensive thing you'll ever do. In this case, it was $3,570 that my friend's brother had to pay. Now, what's interesting is my friend's brother said, you know what, I'm going to sort this out in the US. I'm going to get my refund. This is unfair. But for now, you know what, I have to travel. So that's how they whipped out a credit card. I don't know, well, they just whipped out a card and just paid the $3,570. And, you know, I remember myself, my wife, my friend, the one whose brother was traveling, we looked at each other and said, man, we need to get into that level. You can't, if somebody can be able to just whip up and pay that amount of money in order to sort things out without having to go through a process of fasting and prayer and seeking and planning and going to the bank to borrow money. I mean, they're at a level where they can just pay that $4,000 without blinking an eye. And for me, I think that just taught me so much, because it's like, you know what? We need to check those circles. We need to be in circles where you can do that. And I remember we talked about it later on again with this brother. And this brother told me, you know what? I'm in a circle where I have a $500. Sorry, I'm in a circle where if I needed a $5,000, I can make a call and get it like that. $5,000, that's what, 110,000 kwacha? The people I know in Zambia who do those kind of things are Jerabos. and I'm not going to say anything about Jerabos except that that's just amazing that they can be able to jump and deal with each other that way. Because that's the only other circle I know where I've heard people say, "Boy, in Vela," they speak Bemba, my Bemba is terrible. "Boy, in Vela, I need like a 300, I need to make a payment quickly. There's a truck, there are 3 trucks coming, I need to clear." I thought, okay, well, no problem, come through and collect. You want it in cash or I just send it? You know? That's what I'm talking about. and I know cases where they'll just go to like 12, 15 booths and send, and the person gets the money, and then they're able to sort things out. And that's the level that I'm talking about when it comes to relationships. Examine that circle around you and ask yourself the all-important question: what kind of people do you have in your circle? Are those people able to push you into destiny? Are they able to push you to the next level? Are they there to connect you and lift you to your next platform? That's very important, because for a lot of people, I note that they have a big challenge when it comes to that kind of circles. They're not able to be in circles that are able to lift them to the next level. So become very deliberate about your friends. I think it was, I can't remember who said it. He said, I think it was P.S. Fumbachama, or Malachi, Prophet Malachi at the book launch, or Bishop Bishop Kongolo of Zivazako Ministry. One of the three. I can't remember who precisely said it, but they said it well. But I think it's Fumba Chama, the PS Arts. He said, if your type, yeah, it's the PS. He said, if your type of friends are the type who tells you, where is it happening? If every Friday, oh, that's all you do, and this one I want to close it. If when your Friday comes, it's about, hey, where is it cutting? Where is it happening? And you're just going to waste money in a club, in a bar, in a pub. If that's the kind of friends you have a messed up group of friends. But if you have friends who are encouraging you, one, I'm better, there's this opportunity, let's go, let's put our money together, let's bid, let's lodge in, let's do this, let's do business together, let's go to South Africa, let's go to India, let's go to China, whatever it is, Dubai. You know, if you have a friends who are always pushing you to business and encouraging you to become better than you are, that's the right friends to have. Friends who are going to push you to achieve greater things in your life. And it is on that note that I want to close with something not really related, but kind of the same. He said something else which really touched me, and I'm closing on this. He said, if all you live for is a weekend, like that's your purpose. Your purpose is the weekend. When there's a long holiday, you even plan bigger things. Let's go to Siavonga, let's go to Livingston. That's all you do in your life. You don't sit to plan on what you can do to increase your income, what you can do to increase your well-being, what you can do to create legacy for the future when it comes to business and success. If all you live for is chilling, keep watching this series because you're going to be transformed. We need to get you out of that. That's not living. Living is ensuring you're doing all you can to transform the future. And that, my friends, is the power of networks. So really, really look at those networks. Like the saying goes, your network is your net worth. Have a great day, and we'll catch you tomorrow when Sunshine Children is back.